Good morning, friends. How are you today? We're out at the farm. Gonna put up some flower support netting this morning and try this new technique for getting these sleeves in the ground. And I'm gonna save the weeding for tomorrow because I'm not feeling that great today. So let's start with the flower support netting. So flower support netting is used to keep all the stems and all the flowers that are packed tightly in these rows from cracking, falling over during high winds and heavy rains and stuff. And sometimes last year, it was such a weird year that I forgot to use it a couple times, and it makes a big difference. It makes it a little bit harder to harvest because you're cutting underneath the netting and pulling them through. But when you have a major weather event and everything gets flattened, you always wish that you had used the flower support netting. So it's a very simple process. So I'm going to grab some T-posts and I'll show you how we do it. Okay, so I have all the tools that I need here. It's actually a very simple process. I'm going to move this, pull that all the way up at some point. Okay. 4 T-posts, 2 on either end. So I'm going to take my T-post pounder. I probably don't really need it because the ground, yeah, it's real soft. But I want to make sure I get it in there nice and sturdy. Okay. There's one. Here's the other. Yeah, that one, a little bit harder. Okay, so now I just do this at the other end, and then we're going to rig up our netting. Now that we have our T-posts installed, this is my netting left over from last year, which I've rolled up on a stake. This should fit because these beds are 40 feet long and the previous beds were 40 feet long, but we'll find out. You can buy flower support netting. It's called Hort Nova netting, and I can put that in the description box below. Lots of different companies sell it. So basically what we're going to do is string this netting very tightly on these T-posts. Okay. And now I'm going to unroll this all the way to the other end and attach it to the other set of T-posts. Ooh, that just reaches. Okay, so I have this on this stake so that I can then use the stake to help me slide the netting down over the T-posts on this end. Okay, and that holds it in place. Now I want to try to get this wood so it's not sticking out into the pathway. So the idea of the netting is that you bring it to a height that will be approximately halfway up the stems of your flowers. Now, obviously, this stuff down here is way, way, way too short for this. So for now, we're going to lower it a little bit, but the stuff at the front and the straw flower is getting tall. So we'll start like this. We can always raise it as we go, and it should be nice and tight. Because if it's not tight, you're not going to be able to keep things from falling over. All right, so also I'm going to go on and take out these hoops. Number one, because they're keeping the netting from doing its job. And 2, we don't need them anymore. So we've attached it to the 4 T-posts, but we're not done yet because these sides are still pretty floppy. So now we put stakes in. I use wooden stakes, you can use T-posts. I do it, since this is a 40-foot long bed, I'll do it about every 10 feet. but we'll stretch it taut so that both sides are across from each other, and then they'll provide final support for the rest of the netting. Okay, so hopefully you can see this is nice and tight. And as the flowers grow up, actually these stalk, I'm gonna lower this a little bit. The stalk won't get that much taller. But as they grow, straw flower will definitely get taller. They'll grow through the netting here, and it will support them, keep them from falling over in wind and heavy rain, which we are going to be getting in a couple days. So I'll need to do this to all the beds. This one is ready down there for the Amimagus. Really needs me to start putting up the netting, but I am short a couple of stakes right now, so I'm going to do that tomorrow when I come out and weed that final ranunculus bed. So in the meantime, I'm going to try to get one of these sleeves in the ground using this basically pilot hole technique. So I've got this big, it says 6 feet long. It's pointed at both ends. I'm going to use the post pounder and pound it in to 3 feet deep, which is how deep these sleeves are. Keep wiggling it as I go, so I'm opening up that channel. And then supposedly, when I put the sleeve and pound the sleeve in, it'll go in pretty easy. Fingers crossed. Okay, so that technique is success, but it is not easy. I can't imagine doing 500 feet of that every 10 feet. All right, well, what I am going to try to do is at least one more, maybe two, I don't know, to link up with that post down there, which is at 40 feet. Actually, no, that's at, I don't know, 80, I don't know. I don't remember what the tape said. But yeah, that's exhausting. So I may still want to get a automatic post pounder. I just don't know how it's going to work on these sleeves. I don't know if there's a fitting that will work to pound them in, since it's so wide. It's like a fence post width. So yeah, we'll see. But I'll try on the next one. The hardest part, honestly, was getting the pole that I'm using to drill the pilot hole, getting that out of the ground. So I think, even though I was wiggling it on the way down, I think I need to do a lot more of that, and maybe pull it up halfway and put it back in kind of on an angle so I can open up that hole a little bit more. Yeah, so I'm going to try that and see what happens, but that is hard work. I'm like drenched in sweat. So that's probably a couple more of these, and that's my workout for the day. All right, let's see how much further we can go. that's all I can handle today. I got 3 more in. I've kind of finessed it a little bit so that it's a tiny bit easier, but not a whole lot. And it's exhausting. They're also not level, but I don't really care because it's for deer fence. So this one was the first one that we tried, and I did that one, and that one. Like I said, I really don't even care that it's not level. It's just gonna be holding deer fencing and tensioning wire. I'll try for level on some of the next ones, but it's really hard. So you basically, using that pole for the pilot hole, I can't just hammer it straight down. Even if I'm wiggling it a lot, it just is too tight at the bottom, then I can barely get it out. So I hammer it in a little bit, wiggle, 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 pick it up, move it a little bit to the sides. Basically, I'm trying to open the hole so it's wider the further we go down. Now, we do have a digging bar that has more of a wedge on the end. I could try that, but from what I've seen, that actually is way harder to get out of the ground once it's in. And so I think I'd rather take my chances with the concrete form pole. Okay, I need to go run some errands. Boy, they're gonna love me in the pet store right now. At least I'm not muddy, just stinky. And then when we get home, I need to suit up and check on the bees. I did not make it out to the shops yet. Aiden called right when I was getting in the car with a migraine from school. So I went to pick him up and figured since I'm dropping him off at home, I might as well go on and do the hive dive now. Then I can shower and stuff before I have to run errands. It'll make me feel less disgusting while I'm out. Since I'm so wet. Okay, bee suit. So, bee suits. They're generally made out of thick canvas. You can get stung through them, but it's not very common. And they seal at the ankles, which is really nice because bees tend to land on the ground and then start climbing up your legs. And so as long as they can't get inside your pant legs, you're in pretty good shape. In general, my bees are pretty docile. But, you know, bees are bees, and whenever you go into a hive, you're breaking into their territory and you're breaking apart some of the work that they've done. And if they feel like their queen's in jeopardy, they're going to protect her. All right, so first thing I'm going to do before I put my gloves on is start my smoker. I don't know that I'm going to need it, but it's better to have it than not have it. So in the bottom of the smoker, I've got 3 little balls of paper, and then there's burlap, which burns really well and smells good while it's burning. Okay, just going to start by taking off the outer cover. I'm not going to do too much to this hive. I don't really want to disturb them that much. All right, and this is the weather board that's helping them stay a little bit warmer and, more importantly, drier. And this is the inner cover. So I'm blowing some smoke so that they'll kind of go back down inside. Pop the inner cover off. Oh yeah. Like I said, I don't plan to really open up this hive very much. I want to let these guys, yeah, see they're nice and active. I'm going to check a few frames, but I can see that they're mostly clustered here in the center, which is excellent. And I can see beautiful comb that they're drawing there. So I don't even know that I'm going to take off any frames. Oh, see, there's a lot of propolis that has formed over the winter. So it makes it harder to get the frames out. So this frame has not been drawn yet. It does have bees working on it though. And the frame next to it has been drawn. I'm going to put this back in. What I think I'm going to do is take this box off so that I can check the box below. It's heavy. Okay, so I see beeswax on top. You see this really pretty comb up here. All the bees are mostly clustered in the center here. That's where they're going to be because that's where they can stay warm. But I think they're probably good. I mean, this is a lot of bees. That's what I want to see. I probably should check one of these frames to see if there's any brood, but I'm nervous because I don't want to accidentally hurt the queen. So maybe I'll take the feeder out. You don't want to crush any bees. You can see there's comb on the bottom there. Set this up on its side. Lots and lots of, oh, and I see honey dripping down. Okay, so this is a beautiful frame. I'm not even going to remove it. I'll show you. That is all capped honey down there. So that's kind of all I really needed to see. There's honey dripping. All I really wanted to make sure of is that they had food, right? I'm not worried about honey for me. I'm just worried about food for them to get through the rest of the winter. That's great. So all capped, and you see how calm they are, right? Now it's chilly. It's about 65 degrees. Carefully put this. Really don't want to crush any bees. Not just because that would make me sad, but crushed bees emit a pheromone that makes everybody get a little anxious. Okay, so I'm going to tap this so that those guys kind of fall down in there and I have fewer to worry about. Smoke is good, but you don't want to do too much smoke because that can actually make them agitated. It's a fine line. All right. So inner cover, winter cover, and outer cover. All right, little lady. Sorry, there's a little bee on the side. And she's trying to figure out how to get back in. I don't want her to get stuck, crushed under the cover. Okay. So one more thing we'll look at, watching them come in and out. Do they have pollen? And yes, they do. Look at those little bee's knees. So that's all excellent signs of a healthy hive. Oh my goodness. They're so busy. Look at those pollen baskets. I'm very pleased with that. Healthy, happy hive. Now I need to get a plug for the smoker. The other nice thing about the burlap as for the smoker fuel is that it lasts for a really long time. It burns for a long time. And once you put the fire out, there's still plenty there usually to burn. So let me find a plug and stick it in there to put the fire out. You can use lots of different things to plug up your smoker, corks, but I actually have one of these. It's a piece of irrigation equipment, but it's the end cap for irrigation and it fits great. And that will suffocate the fire. Okay guys, I think that's gonna be it for me today. I'm wiped. That little bit of fence work, that was hard work and it made me tired. But the other thing is I have a bunch of errands to run, so probably won't be able to make it out to the farm again until Sunday. We have a family work day out there on Sunday, even though it's supposed to rain. I'm hoping that it's only a 50% chance right now, so I'm hoping that the rain holds off or at least just gives us a little bit of light rain so we can actually make some headway on that deer fence. All right, thanks again for hanging out with me. I hope you guys have a wonderful time in your garden, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.